Good evening, BrokeFish. So it is 6 o'clock p.m. here on the East Coast, 3 o'clock p.m. on the West Coast, and approximately 11 p.m. GMT for those in the UK. It's midnight in Central Europe, and it's early in the morning in like Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, etc. So we are here for a exciting update. People have apparently been waiting, and they really hate waiting, so they're looking to see this now. But we've got a big, exciting update for week 3 of season 2 of the BrokeFish Poker League. So let's get going here. I'm Matt, and we're going to talk first, though. Before we get into who won the league and who earned all the points, we're actually going to do a little bit of discussion on something that's really cool, and that is the news and happenings of what's going on in the industry. And unfortunately, today we're starting off with some sad news. So Miami John Cernuto, who's pictured here, he is a huge tournament player. He's made a ton of money playing tournaments. He's cashed and won a lot of them. Sadly, he is quite sick, and he's gone into hospice care. And this is a guy who's well respected across the poker community in the entire United States. Unfortunately, he's come to the end of his life, and hopefully it's a tough thing for people when they get to that point, especially for his family, his close friends, and my condolences go out to them. Wish them the best and John the best. It's a shame to be losing another member of the poker community here. Another big thing happening in the poker world. So Hard Rock Bristol, and this is in Virginia, close to where the border with Tennessee is. They've opened up a new poker room. Now, it's not a giant room. It's not like 70 tables or 100 tables or anything crazy, but they've opened up a 14-table poker room, and it is a full-service poker room. So they're going to have cash games plus tournament action. And tournament action is obviously important because people love poker tournaments. And these obviously, you're not going to have probably $1 million guarantee in a 14-table poker room. But if they've got a nice daily schedule for people in that area, that'll be great. And you could even, a 14-table room, you could do some multi-day stuff where you end up having 6 figures of guarantee, and that would be pretty good. I have a question from Decaf. Did you ever get to sit next to him? No, I did not. I've gotten to sit next to some big names in the poker world, Chris Moneymaker being one of them, but not Miami John. And unfortunately, I probably never will get to sit next to him. And that's the thing when some of these legends in poker, when they pass away, all the people that were like, oh, it would have been nice to meet them or to sit with them at the poker room just isn't going to be able to happen. So, it's a shame. And by the way, joining me today on the stream is Dylan. So Dylan's one of the players that's in the BrokeFish League. Great poker player, a lot of skill. And Dylan, did you ever get a chance to play against Miami John at all?
Miami John? No, I do not recognize the name. Thank you for having me, though.
Yeah, he was a big player, played a lot of tournaments. So I can't remember, did you mainly do tournaments or cash games?
I have always been mainly cash games, but since the beginning of January, I've been focusing on tournament and learning tournaments more, and I've cashed quite a few since then. So tournaments are really growing on me.
Yeah, no, tournaments are great. I mean, people love them. And actually, one of the things that's coming up this week, there's actually a nice tournament happening at TGT, and it's a tag team tournament. So in kind of honor of Valentine's Day, they've got, low buy-in, $120, $2,500 guarantee, which actually sounds a little bit low. They'll probably smash that guarantee. But when you look at that, it's basically where you get 2 people. And I think the concept with it being Valentine's Day is like you could have your partner, your wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, head to the poker room with you on Valentine's Day, play together, and maybe end up winning a bunch of money, which could be more exciting than the typical, like, I'm going to buy my girlfriend roses, which end up dying eventually, and go like get dinner somewhere fancy. So what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Shit, I don't do, I'll probably take the girlfriend out for exactly what you just said. Go get some food and skip out on the flowers and go straight to the chocolate and candy and chicken nuggets.
Nice. And Where do you guys? So you're in Western Canada, right?
Yes, Western Canada, Edmonton, Alberta. Just down the road from Pure Argyle, that one tournament schedule that you posted. I live right up by there for the
Right, and they have
PPP series
the
that they're doing over the next month.
right, and they have in. Isn't there also a WSOP circuit that was in that area? Or am I
Yes,
mixing this
they
up
they
with?
do also. I don't know exactly when it is, but they do for a month also run some WSOP tournaments there. They cancel all their normal tournaments, and that's the only reason I show up to play my $80 tournament, and they're like, "Yeah, that's canceled. It's $900."
Yeah, that would be a bit of a hike
Yeah,
in
like
bankroll you would need for sure.
yeah, no, definitely.
So, but this definitely seems like a cool tournament. I've seen it happen at other venues, and I think it would actually be an interesting concept to see like a tag team tournament in something like the World Series, where it's sort of like
How
a
does a
team
tag
thing.
team work? I've never seen that before.
So basically, the way it works is that you've got two players; they have to usually register together, and they swap in and out, sort of like in wrestling when you have like a tag
Yeah,
team, you tag
yeah,
in
I
and
kind
tag
of
out.
get that. Do they have their own stacks?
No, it's a shared stack. But what happens is a lot of them require that um, like both players will need to play. Like you
You
can't
have to.
just have like a
Yeah,
tag team where like you never tag, right? Like if there was one like Wizard of Poker, they can't just find like some random donkey and enter the
yeah.
tag team and never have the guy play. They have to basically at least once like swap. And in this tournament that they're running at TGT, the first level that you come in, actually both players would have to play a hand. So like strategically, it would probably make sense just to get that out of the way to like play one hand, tag team, play one hand, and then you just from there could do whatever's necessary or what's going to make sense. But I think it's kind of an interesting type of
Yeah, I've only
tournament.
ever heard talk about them. I've always kind of wondered how that plays out, what the strategy is between
Yeah.
tagging out and like, I don't know. I got to go for a piss. It's your turn, babe.
So James Ross is actually saying that when the tag team tournament runs, what they do is they each start with having their own stack and then they amalgamate. So that might
Okay, yeah.
be, yeah, I've heard of it where they do it off a single stack though. So like, I don't know, I guess it could be different where you've got separate stacks versus that, later on combine or something like that. So, it seems pretty interesting to have. So, and then moving on to the next piece of kind of poker news and happening. And this one, you probably wouldn't notice it being in Canada, but there's this story out about how people are afraid of ice. And we're not talking about, like water when it's frozen, but we're talking about immigration and customs enforcement. And is it impacting poker rooms because less people are showing up? Apparently it is. Now, it's not like half the players aren't showing up, but some rooms are seeing a few less people coming because I guess people are afraid that if they're not in the country legally, that immigration might come and find them, and then they get deported and kicked out of the United States, and they don't want to go back to their country of origin. Also, some restaurants have said they've lost a lot of customers because of that, especially restaurants that are in areas that have a significant amount of basically undocumented people, or as President Trump calls them, illegal criminal aliens, since now the president's policy is to consider anyone in the country illegally to be a criminal, basically. But, I think it's something that from a poker perspective, less players is bad, right? So like
Definitely.
the thing is that depending on the room and depending on the location is probably going to impact it more, because I think in some areas it's probably nobody is really impacted, and then in other areas you might see more people that are concerned about that.
Yeah, it's definitely not an issue up here in Canada right now. I'd say it's poker's probably really, really good right now. The poker rooms are pretty lively, more so than.
I actually, one of the great poker rooms in Canada, Playground Poker Club in Kanawaki, which is just south of Montreal. It's actually on native. I almost said Native American, but that's wrong because we're talking about Canada. It's on First Nations land in basically just south of Montreal. they have an amazing poker setup. They've got basically 3 floors in a building. They've got electronic gaming, so you can go in there and play like essentially slot machines. You can play tournament poker, cash poker. They have an awesome dining program. It's worth checking out, even if you're here in the US. It's like one of the places that would be worthwhile to actually consider, like flying to Montreal when they run something like the WSOP circuit, or if you're in the sort of New York State or the New England region, it's actually closer to drive from somewhere like Boston, Massachusetts, or from Hartford, Connecticut, or even New York City. It's closer to drive there than to say try to drive to like Florida for poker, or maybe not from New York, but from Boston. It's closer than Atlantic City. So, have you ever been there?
No, I haven't traveled to play poker at all. The first trip I'm planning to make is down to Red Deer to check their poker room out, and that's only a 2-3 hour drive for me, and that'll be my longest trip to play poker. I have 3 locals, the 2 peers, Pure Yellowhead, Pure Argyle, and then we have one on First Nation land of River Cree, and they're all nice poker rooms, all with their own perks and downsides. So I haven't really had much need to go anywhere, but got to make the money here and then go to try and get it elsewhere.
Yeah. So we'll be so moving on from Poker News and Happenings, and coming up soon we'll be talking about who's winning the prizes from week 3 of the league. But before we get to the prizes, let's do a little bit of discussion about everybody's favorite reality television show, The Bachelor. So episode 3 is coming up tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern / 7 p.m. Central. And interestingly, they're going to the poker capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, where there are poker rooms after poker rooms, dozens of tournaments almost any given day, especially if you're out there during a major series. And Lisa Vanderpump, who has a couple of different restaurants out there, is actually making an appearance on the show. So should be an interesting episode. It's always fun to see when they do stuff in Vegas, because you get these sort of nice views of the whole Las Vegas Strip. I think they're actually going to be jumping off of the Stratosphere, which is the tallest building in Nevada, or tallest. I think it is the tallest building in the state of Nevada. So that should be interesting. And have you been watching The Bachelor?
I can't say I've watched it in about 20 years when I was living with my mom. I do remember my mom watching it when I was about 10, 12 years old. Is this one, is it a guy with a bunch of girl contestants or a girl with a bunch of guy contestants?
It's one guy, right? So
Yeah.
His name. So you've got basically one guy. He's actually pictured on the right side of the screen, right, in the suit holding the rose.
Yeah.
And his name's Grant Ellis. He was on The Bachelorette, which is where you have 1 woman and 25 men competing to.
Okay, separate names. I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah. So Grant, actually, what happened is he got sort of rejected towards the end of The Bachelorette, but America loved the guy. And actually, so in Canada, you all get 2 versions of The Bachelor, because you get Bachelor Canada, and then you also get the US version as well. So it's like double awesomeness for Canadians. And it appears Decaf, he's not a fan of The Bachelor, but don't worry, Decaf, because we're going to be jumping into the winners of the.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that either.
League very soon. Yeah, so actually, because we made a poker group that is now also a poker group and reality dating group, we apparently are contractually obligated to discuss The Bachelor on every live stream, or some sort of reality dating show. And since I haven't been watching Love Island, or
you'll have to show me that contract.
Yeah, and by the way, MILF Manor may be coming back, and that's another crazy one. So MILF Manor, it's almost exactly what it sounds like. It's mothers.
Am I hearing that right? MILF Manor?
Yes. So it's hot mothers and their children, right? Their sons, who are like ages like 20 to 28, right? So it's like, you've got these sort of moms in the maybe age 40 to 55 range, and then their sons who are 18 to 28 or something like that. And the crazy catch is that the sons are dating the other moms, and
I was hoping you were
trying to find love. And it, when this concept first came out, everybody was appalled, and then they put it on TV, and it actually drew decent ratings. So it got a 2nd season, and it might be getting a 3rd season. But sadly, what will not be on TV this year, The Bachelorette. It looks like they're skipping the show this year. It's not going to be on again. The show's not canceled, but I guess they're just not going to have a new season. And somebody seems very sad about that. They're asking for help from Jesus, or that could be help from Jesus. I don't know which one it is. But yeah, it should be an interesting episode tonight. And again, we'll soon be talking about the fun that is season 2 of the BrokeFish Poker League and what's going on week 3. Also joining us on stream is Decaf. So can you hear us?
Yeah, thank goodness you're going to end this Bachelor shit, man. Nobody wants to hear about the Bachelor anymore. Let's get on to the next subject.
Right. And really why when MILF Manor is more entertaining. But on to the update for season 2. So to review kind of for everybody, right, in case people somehow have forgotten, even though this gets talked about every day, how you can earn points, right? So, when you're looking at the league, the top 3 people every week get prizes. And then every month, the top 10 get prizes. On top of that, at the end of the league, the overall winners get even more prizes. So there's lots of prizes. And if you score any point in the league, so whether you earn 1 point or you earn like 1,000 points, because there probably is a guy who's actually going to hit 1,000 points because he's super skilled at poker, you get a free trading card featuring Stu Unger. And anybody who scores a point actually gets into a 3-roll tournament that's coming up, which is pretty awesome. Joe Hendry wants to know why his comments aren't being posted, by the way. It's because he's been trolling. So he's convinced I was out on a date with a new boyfriend last week. And really, that wasn't the case. I was actually at a Super Bowl party last night where, again, we're going to get to the prize winners. But if we want to talk about that really quickly, the Kansas City Chiefs got a whooping. 0 points at halftime. They couldn't connect. Mahomes was getting just owned. He was getting, rushed and hurried practically every play. He got sacked. He threw interceptions. They did actually face mask him one time, which is against the rules of football. But, it was just an embarrassing performance by the Kansas City Chiefs. They were supposed to be like the best team in the league. He was supposed to be the great quarterback who might be better than Tom Brady. But I think after last night's performance, everybody knows that Tom Brady is the real greatest of all time quarterback in the NFL and probably the best American football player. And really probably for sort of gridiron football in general, he might be the best quarterback ever. Cause I don't think there's anyone in the CFL that could really compete on Brady's level. So Dylan and Scott, any thoughts on last night's game?
I don't know who the Scott guy is, but last night's game was absolute trash. I mean, the halftime show was even worse. I just muted it and turned it off.
Yeah, so the halftime show was interesting. So, I feel like some of the acoustics didn't work well. I mean, people are mixed on it. I think that we've had better halftime shows for sure. I do think it was kind of interesting to see what was written as basically a diss track to tell Drake he sucks ended up becoming a huge hit song, winning Grammys and getting performed at the Super Bowl. Drake definitely has lost that rap battle. And even more interestingly, I think everybody thinks Drake is so, literally that song had lines about like how Drake likes the young girls. He's a pedophile and he better not end up in jail because presumably bad things will happen to him if he ends up in jail. So
did they have Drake confused with P. Diddy too early?
Yeah. So, P. Diddy also.
I'm an old guy, so I'm just trying to catch up on this stuff.
Yeah, no, Diddy's currently in jail, and I don't think he's getting out anytime soon. I think he's going to be looking at, with all the stuff he's charged with, if he's even guilty on half of it, I think he's looking at like 50 years behind bars. So it's those Diddy parties, they, I used to be jealous. I didn't get invited. I thought I was missing out, but apparently the only thing I was missing out on was a trip to the penitentiary. So,
Matt, they had 10s there. You can't get with a 10. You can get with a 7 and an 8.
Well, if the 10s were occupied, I might have to go for the 8s and the 7s. That's how it works. So James Ross, by the way, says all these Hollywood weirdos are pedos. And, interestingly, sadly, there's a lot of pedos out there, right? A lot of pedophiles, a lot of people in jail, but just it seems like, when they're in Hollywood and they're wealthy elites, the media picks up on that and it just gets spread all over, right? Everybody likes to see some rich guy get taken down. Nobody really cares when they take down some like average guy, but when it's some like rich celebrity, they're like, woohoo, like lock him up. So back to the league season 2 update that we've been promising to get to. So real quick, how do you earn points? You can win any satellite, cash any tournament, or win 100 big blinds in the BrokeFish Social NLH and PLO games, which I think are running tonight. We'll be having them starting at about 6:30 p.m. That's Eastern time, so it would be 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, 5:30 p.m. Central time, and 11:30 p.m. GMT. And in terms of week 3, so the winners for week 3 were Mambo Man. Once again, he's won week 1 and week 2, and he's won it again, 298 points. So he gets 2 picks off the prize grid. Now, Mope Hunter, kind of a newcomer here, right? He had 0 points prior, or 1 point or something really low. And he managed to go into the weekend, and he just was so skilled that he picked up 154 points in like 2 days. And so he actually got himself from pretty much like having like no points all the way to second place, and he gets to pick off the prize grid. So for people who were like discouraged, they're like, oh, I'm already behind because I didn't join the club at the beginning of the week. Don't be discouraged. If you're a good poker player and you can actually win, you can actually pick up prizes. I mean, there was a chance that he was going to surpass Mambo Man, but he couldn't get there because Mambo Man's also very skilled. And then we've got Blake Guitar, who had 145 points, and he gets 1 pick for 3rd place. So now I hear, though, that Mope Hunter is the biggest whale on earth. He's trash, from Joe Hendry. Well, Joe, if he's really trash, why didn't you beat him? Like, why aren't you ranked in the top 3? So Mope Hunter's obviously a better player. He got to 2nd place, and Joe Hendry is jealous. That's what's going on here.
I hear some diss battle coming up between these two. Joe Hendry wins.
I don't know. Joe Hendry is, he's saying, oh, the guy is a huge whale. But again, the guy beat him in the standings. So.
Oh, that's just round 1. I got Joe coming in really strong to round 2.
Oh, well, that could happen. I mean, because we've got a new weekend and we've got an opportunity tonight for people to pick up points. So let's get into the long-awaited prize reveal. So this is the current prize grid. This is everything that got awarded in the first 2 weeks so far. And the blank spots are the ones that people can, select from. So as we look at the first place winner, right? So again, that was Mambo Man. He gets to have 2 prizes off the grid. He selected squares F5 and A1. So let's see what he wins. So he wins from A1, a BrokeFish trading card, standard edition, and from F5, also a BrokeFish trading card, standard edition. So that's 2 BrokeFish trading cards that'll get sent over to Mambo Man for his win. And then we look to 2nd place, and 2nd place was Mope Hunter, and he selected F1. And he wins a $20 credit to the BrokeFish Social cash game, which means he's got 5 bullets. No, that's wrong. He's got 1 bullet to PLO or Hold'em or whatever he wants to play tonight. And he can try to turn that into a lot more revenue. So that would be great to see. So, and we've got a couple of comments here. So Poker Life Industry saying Matt doesn't play Mondays. He does Bachelor streaming. Yeah, I got to watch The Bachelor tonight. It's going to be a great episode. Also, I hate cash poker. But then let's see here. We've got, so Cody actually, who's Mambo Man, saying, he said his prizes are better than nothing because he didn't win, the coveted one, like the exclusive 1-of-1 trading card, or like the $100 credit to the BrokeFish Social game, but he still won. So, and if he keeps winning every time, he's going to win 2 more picks next week and 2 more picks the following week, because apparently no one in the entire club is skilled enough to surpass him. So moving on to our final winner for tonight, 3rd place. That was Blake Guitar, and he selected I9. So let's reveal the prize grid and see what he gets. So he gets a limited edition BrokeFish trading card. So that's one of the premium cards right there, a limited edition. They come in a hard case, something like last season when we had the Moneymaker one as prizes. Also, there's Jonathan Little, Phil Hellmuth, and Doyle available. So that's a nice prize to get. Limited edition cards that are going to obviously be more valuable. So those were our winners for prizes. And before we wrap up, let's just review something huge coming up. So there's a February special tournament coming up, Washington's birthday weekend, which is the Sunday of that weekend. So Sunday 2/16 for those in the United States. We have a federal holiday on Monday 2/17 for the Canadians. You don't have a holiday, but you guys get some extra holidays that we don't get in the United States, such as Boxing Day as a national holiday, and Canada Day, which we don't have. Dylan, are there any more holidays that Canadians get that the U.S. doesn't observe?
I'll speak up. They get Thanksgiving like a month early.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Thanksgiving's a different time.
Yeah, it's October, so it's
yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I remember this. It lines up usually. It's like the second Monday in October, so it almost always is the same as Columbus Day in the United States.
Yeah, all the ones that we have that you don't, there's pretty much like a substitute. We
Right.
basically just got one holiday a month.
Right, and then Veterans Day in the U.S., which is November 11th, is actually a holiday in Canada too, called
Remembrance Day. Exactly the same.
Yeah. So for February special, right? So 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon, 40 chips gets you in. There's no rake being taken. You can late register for 2 hours. You can also fire again for 2 hours. So, let's say you're just bad at poker and you keep busting and busting. You can bust like 20 times in that 2 hours and just fire again if you want. And then there are 3 rolls for point scorers coming up. So anyone who's earned a point in season 2 of the league can play Thursday evening at 7. And if you win that 3 roll, you get a seat into the tournament. And then last chance, sort of on Sunday 2/15, 10 seats are guaranteed in a 3 roll that will award entry to a last chance satellite. So you basically could get into this thing and win some money for free. Like, you don't have to spend any money, because if you earned a point in season 2, you get into that satellite that awards a seat. And then if you simply join the club and enter into this 3 roll, we're going to be giving away 10 seats to the last chance satellite, which will definitely award seats to the tournament. So now let's just, before we get into the cash games tonight, see if anyone's got any questions. And remember, you can earn league points tonight in BrokeFish Social. So the games are apparently going to be starting.
Hey, Matt, can I give 2 shout outs before we go?
Yeah, so let's hear them.
Shout out to Hello Kitty for taking down event 5 at the Poker Open at National Harbor.
That's Justin Arwine, right? Yeah,
that's who he is. His wife Caitlin, I think, cashed the same day, like 4th place in another tournament.
Nice. So and yeah, and Caitlin's been a great advocate for women in poker, helping to support, I think, through the WPA and helping to do a lot of growth in that. We've seen actually, last year through just advocacy for women, a lot more circuit stops added, ladies events. And I know that there's some guys that play those. I won't be playing it. Every time one comes up, somebody asks if I'm playing because they're trolling. I've never played the ladies event. I don't plan to do it. What I will do is, if there are ladies playing and they're like selling action to the tournament, I might pick up some action to be able to make some money when they win. But I personally am not going to be firing it myself. So let's see if we've got any final questions or anything here.
Hey, my second shout out, Reserve Poker Club. They're running a series, 4th anniversary coming up in April. $1 million guarantee for $600.
Where's Reserve?
Reserve's in Toledo, Ohio.
Okay, nice. So,
amazing poker club.
So Toledo, I got to see if I can possibly make it out there. I guess Toledo doesn't have its own airport, or do you have to fly to like Detroit?
Yeah, you got to fly to Detroit, but you know what? It's worth leaving Detroit at that point once you land.
Right. So you'd fly to Detroit, and then it's like an hour and a half to drive, probably.
That's from the airport. I think it's 45 minutes. I might have a heavy foot, but
okay. So. Yeah. So that right, because I remember the Wayne County Airport is kind of like southwest of Detroit itself.
Yeah.
In Romulus, Michigan. So So that would be interesting. I mean, I guess also I could like drive to Toledo and just take like probably like 14 to 15 hours from New England to get there. But the only thing is you probably when is this again? In March, you said?
April. I think it's April 3rd through the I should know this because I'm going out there. April 3rd through the 14th, whatever that Sunday is, and they give you a double bag bonus. So basically what happens is you enter for 600, they give you min cash paid on the spot that day. If you want to re-enter, you're more than welcome to re-enter. You take your biggest bag. I don't remember what the double bag bonus is. It is on their Facebook page. I suggest anybody that's interested, even if you're not interested, just you're going to go by sometime, add them on Facebook, like it, whatever it is. I think it's 2,500. Please don't quote me on that, but it's a pretty substantial double bag bonus that you get too. And then that Sunday is day 2. There is some live streaming going on. They do have a live stream. I would be interested in watching.
Yeah, that looks like a pretty solid tournament. You know, in the Northeast, we don't get as many as we used to in terms of large guaranteed events, so people have to kind of expand if they're looking for that. We used to see them at Foxwoods, but hasn't happened in the last probably 5 years that there's been something with like $1 million guarantee. And even in Atlantic City, there's less than there used to be. Harrah's used to have the WSOP circuit 1 or 2 times a year. They don't get that anymore. So the looks like the ODOT 25 cent, 50 cents getting started. So anyone have any final things, or if not, we'll be able to wrap this up.
Yeah, like and subscribe Decaf Poker on YouTube.
Nice. So Decaf Poker. All right, everybody, have a good evening. Good luck at the tables if you're firing.
Good luck, everyone.
Bye.